Yep, going to continue that route of getting the last two PlayStation trophies. Croeso Noswyth Da, Lady Norimon Dewey, Maihin Boruglau, Wintog or Henna. And yeah, it's you know, attempt at Welsh when we're doing the Space Colony Studios games. Neptune's right here. I tried to get a picture of her and she was like, no. But yeah, I'm losing my voice a lot. So I'm hoping this goes alright. One thing I did was made sure I copied my save files to USB to make sure that if I want to go back to my first playthrough, no other route thing, I can.
Space Colony Studios.
And I'm not starting from fresh. I am going to start from some crackers, hopefully. On my save file, and I'm not going to load up the like special stuff and options because it just bugs the game out. So just trying to find out where it is. Neptune. Hi. I'm thinking it's here. Where I can choose to side with her. Or not side with her. For the tunnels of chapter 9. So I think this is it. Basically we got back to, like, Vanessa Lord called, like, we were out in our, room resting because she had given us some painkillers, and we'd had, like, over 24 hours of just go, and we were hurt, sore, stressed, so we rested, and we were out, and then we found out our room had been gone through. And, as soon as we went to leave our room, she called an emergency meeting, and Hansen and Haru were there with, weapons. And, so I'll just double check this. Oh. Yeah. Basically, Vanessa's idea is that, she was taking medical command of the ship because, Cassie was out. And the captain was out previously. But she's now accusing everyone of us of treason. Lord, would you think about what you're doing? Taking medical command is one thing, but accusing Captain Cassie of treasonous, it sounds awful like a no, Lieutenant. You grit your teeth and breathe in. So basically, she gets everyone up on the, and pretty much says she's taking over. Hansen and Haru have guns, and it's basically, you have the option of picking, that's a no, like, are you going to join me? No. Fine. But there was a part here after this where, like, I thought I was going to get shot, and the game continued on, it was like, kind of like, felt like this bonus, but yeah, we'll go fine. The only sound that breaks the silence is your glare at Vanessa is the captain's strained gasp. Also on this route, Hansen beat the shit out of the captain because I told him about the report. Despite your anger, you coldly calculate the options you have available and how you can best protect Cassie. As much as you wish you could do more than just glower at her, you don't see any use in opposing your new captain unless you want to spend the return journey back to Europa locked up. Which is exactly what happens. Starts to, anyway. Feel the weight of the crew's eyes on you. You know that if there's hope for them, the captain, Cassie, and all, then it all rests on your decision. Oh, Lieutenant, what's going to be? And grit your teeth. You don't really see any other way around this. If you're going to find a way to deal with Vanessa, you're going to need your freedom. Fine. Right decision, Lieutenant. Always knew that there was something more to you beyond your bad romantic decisions. So you'd fucking insult Cassian in this too. But they're all in agreement over who the real threat to the ship is. Putting on her heels, Vanessa returns the captain's chair, sitting down with a smug expression on her face. Chief Engineer Carthays, Lieutenant Cadet Grange, I want these engines online now. As soon as they're operational, we'll be heading back to Europa Colony. Warrant Officer Dees, I want you back in fire control and remain on high alert. We're going to assume that we're in enemy territory and I want you on the lookout for any hostile activity. Understood? Yes, ma'am. Dalton's been such a mood, like, lately, because my anxiety's been really shit. So it's like, yeah, like, let's just hang out, take some lorazepam, sleep, rest, hang out with cats. He needs a break. Yes, ma'am. I love how pissy Dees is. I love, like, Dees went from a character I didn't care that much for because he reminded me of someone I went to school with. This weird kid that was really into Sword of Truth books, even though he shouldn't have been reading them at that age, and it was just like, yeah. But Dees did me a solid, and I love Dees now. Dees is like one of my favorite characters of this. What's that, Chief Engineer Carthays? Yes, Captain. You're all dismissed. That, the 3 crew members offered to leave the bridge in a single elevator, leaving you with Vanessa, the 2 pilots, and the captain. Then let me take Mrs. Bartimeus to her quarters, would you? You get it, Captain. This is why I'm, like, biased against Haru and Hansen, is because of how fast they were like, let's become hired goons. Like, they just, like, as soon as they were given any option to, they just, like, decided to, like, yeah, let's get some guns, let's boss everyone around, let's just be power mad. And it's like, you know, if they didn't decide to side with, you know, Vanessa, like, this mutiny would not be going anywhere. Sliding their gun into the waistband of their trousers, Haru squats down and grabs the captain's arm, yanking her to her still unsteady feet. Come on, Bartimeus, get moving. Hold on to Haru, the captain swings herself around to face you, the wild rage that fills her face accentuated by her now tousled hair and disarmed uniform. Yeah, she probably thought we were better than this. We are better than this. In the alternate timeline, we didn't do this. Knight, you snake. Is this your revenge? You think you can get your own back by siding with... Captain releases her grip on her and totters towards you, her open palm drawn back to strike you. Whoa, easy there, Bartimeus. Before she could react, before you could even react, Hansen had stepped forward and struck the captain with the butt of his gun, knocking her back into Haru's waiting arms. You gotta watch out for those violent crew members, Lieutenant. You never know what they'll try. Nod uneasily at the pilot as he smirks at you. Looking back at the captain, he watches Haru drags her, dazed and bruised, towards the elevator. Jeez, Christ. Could you have gone a little bit easier on her? Now I'm gonna have to drag her halfway across the ship. Hey, you can take the pilot of the fight, but can't take the fight of the pilot, you know? If Combat 101. See a threat? Eliminate a threat. Try to shake those killer instincts. maybe those killer instincts can help me get Bartomuse here to her quarters, huh? Hanson looks to Vanessa, who remains sat in the captain's seat. A large smile across her face as her one crossed leg idly bounces up and down. Yeah, that's one of my favorite expressions he gets. He had it on, like, the O'Brien, too. It's just like, oh, I don't want to deal with this shit. I love it. Are you okay being left with your security officer here? Captain. I'm sure it'll be alright. Won't be Lieutenant Knight. I could offer and then, like, take over the ship myself. That sounds like a good plan. Ensign Voice and Romney here are both short radio call away, so we have any problems, they'll come running. Not if I tase you. Like, I could fuck... do I still have my weapon? Like, it should be here somewhere. Just tase you and, like, lock you in the maintenance tunnels. But we won't have any problems, will we? You ball your fists up in frustration. As soon as you're seeing any opportunity to take care of Vanessa, it had been snatched away. Although you might be able to take her down, there was no chance that you'd be able to take on Hanson and her, armed as they are. No problems. No problems. No problems, Captain. Very good, Lieutenant. The Lieutenant here hasn't given me any reason to doubt that they're a committed member of this crew. I'm sure it'll be just fine. Alright then, Captain. We'll be back in a bit. Make sure you behave, Lieutenant. You want to stay on the Captain's good side, right? With a wink, Hanson heads towards her and the Captain. They both take one of her arms over their shoulders and drag her towards the elevators, stepping inside one that's ready and waiting. With them gone, you're now left alone on the bridge with Vanessa. Your attention is immediately drawn to her right hand, which is resting on the control panel built into the armrest of the captain's seat. You can tell that she's resting a finger on an alarm that would bring Hanson and Harrow here at the moment if you tried anything. I'm sure we have a little bit of time because they have her in there in the elevator. Much as you'd like to seize this opportunity, you don't know that it would do nothing. You know that it would do nothing to help you deal with the mutiny or prove Cassie's innocence. Instead, you decide, for the time being at least, to humor Vanessa. You'll get the chance to solve this soon enough. So then, Captain, you forced a word from your mouth, using it to refer to Vanessa and made it feel like a chunk of rotten meat on your tongue as you spoke it. The last time I received instructions from Miss Bartomuse, she told me to be on a constant security rotation with Harrow and Hanson. What are my orders, ma'am? Ensign Croix and Rumney are going to be watching over the traitors who are confined to their quarters for the remainder of the mission. I want both ensigns as close to the hangar as possible in case another enemy machine appears. I've had their quarters searched, but I haven't been able to find how they've been communicating with the enemy, so they may have sent an SOS. Bite your tongue, you know that she hasn't found any physical evidence of treachery because there was no treachery to begin with. But that isn't an argument worth having now. Of course, that slob Quinn didn't make it easy. I've also found signs of unusual activity since that craft came on board, so I wouldn't be surprised if Bartomuse and Quinn hadn't helped an enemy agent on board, which... Unusual activity? That's what I said, Knight. Do you really need me to repeat myself? At this point, you were no longer surprised at how difficult it was to have a conversation with Vanessa. That's a mood. That's a mood there. I had to screenshot that. Yes, Captain. I was just wondering what kind of unusual activity. There were signs that something really had been going on aboard the ship that might help you prove Cassie's innocence and undermine Vanessa's position. Things like dummy access requests, rooms showing as entered but never left. I can investigate those. Oh no, Lieutenant. Why don't you leave that to the people who know what they're doing? Just check out my Twitch. I'm really bad at checking the Twitch when I'm streaming. I want you back patrolling the gun dock. Keep an eye out for any signs you've got an unwelcome visitor on board, or find out how Quinn and Bartomuse were making outbound communications without it coming up on the logs. Maybe I should pull Carthays up here when she's done with the engines. And ask her some questions about the problem she's been having with the communication systems. You could. I could. I appreciate your enthusiasm, Lieutenant, but do as your captain orders, would you? It was a good thing that you'd become so accustomed to Vanessa's way of communicating, otherwise you would have been half tempted to take the risk of casting Harrowburn just to shut her up. Yep, that's a mood. Understood, ma'am. I'll begin immediately. Throw a half-hearted salute and turn to leave. Turn back around, shocked and confused to find Vanessa has grabbed onto your hand. Before you go, Lori, tell me. What exactly do you see in an airhead like Quinn? Wouldn't you rather be with someone who's focused on the task at hand a bit more? Yeah, if I could take your glasses off. There. Having taken off her glasses, you find the new captain pulling you towards her by your necktie. I'm pretty attentive, you know. We're already getting to this? I thought this was later in this. Nessa moves closer to the point she's pressed up against you. I gotta save. Save. Yeah, with this, with the PlayStation 4, don't just, like, go to save right when there, because it will save over the first save file you have, rather than, I'm just gonna start one right here. And number 5, an empty slot for this route. So the point is pressed up against you. Still stunned by your actions, you don't move, but she lays one hand on your chest and slips the other around the small of your back, heading downwards. Brusquely, you turn away and head towards the elevator. Sorry, Captain, but I've got duties to tend to, and I've got no time to get distracted. Turn back, having entered the elevator, waiting for the doors to close. Yeah, gonna go have a shower now. I know you appreciate people who focus on the task at hand. Flustered, Vanessa places her glasses back on, scowling at you from across the bridge. Is that supposed to be you, Lieutenant? You've been wasting time since the meeting ended. Now get to. The closing doors cut off Vanessa's rant, and you exhale a long, deep sigh as the elevator makes its journey towards the central hub. Yeah, she'll probably, like, say, like, we were rude to her or something because we refused her advances. It almost had made you feel sick to side with Vanessa like that, but it was worth it. It seemed like you had her trust and would be allowed to move around the ship freely for the time being, which is the only way you could prove Cassie's innocence. As the elevator continues downwards, a slew of different thoughts rush through your mind as you attempt to formulate a plan. You can't focus on one for long until it's replaced by another that interrupts your train of thought. It wouldn't be enough to prove Cassie's innocence. You'd need to find some way to take control of the Gundog back from the mutineers. But how? April 24th, Planetary Calendar 214. Following the murder of Dr. Rosarium, Lieutenant Lord takes command of the JFS Gundog on the grounds that both the captain and her second-in-command are unfit for duty. As her first act, Captain Lord has Maris Bartomuse and Lieutenant Commander Quinn confined to the quarters on suspicion of treason. Alongside the rest of the crew, the ship's security officer, Lieutenant Knight, accepts acting Captain Lord's new command structure and is assigned to investigate the Gundog for signs of espionage. Central Hub, the Jovian patrol ship, JFS Gundog, Jovian space. Step out of the elevator and into the Central Hub, running your hands through your hair as you let out a long exhalation. Despite every encounter you'd had with Vanessa to date, you hadn't expected her to be capable of something like this, let alone the cruelty for which she had executed her plan. But here you were, standing in the Central Hub of a ship now under her control. You'd managed to avoid being imprisoned alongside Cassie and the captain by agreeing to side with the new captain, a choice that had left you feeling nauseous. At least you had your freedom, though, to a degree. Looking around the Central Hub, you cross your arms. You've been tasked by Captain Lord to continue your patrols around the ship and look out for any signs of an intruder. There was no chance that's what you would be doing. The only reason you'd sided with Vanessa on the bridge had been in order to avoid getting detained like Cassie and the captain. If you'd been locked up, there'd be no way that you could prove their innocence. As much as it had made your stomach turn, you knew you'd done the right thing. Yeah, I've been getting a lot of, like, fake SMS request things for Instagram. Trying, you know, with, you know, a code to try. And it's like, one, I don't use SMS factor authentication for Instagram. I use something else. And two, it's not my username. And it's the same code every time, even though they're supposed to expire after a few minutes. I've gotten like 6 tonight. And it's like, fucko, it makes me nervous. I check Instagram to make sure, you know, like any login attempts, anything. Emails from them. But I looked up on Reddit and like a lot of people are getting it. But yeah, my SMS received thing is, you know, the Metal Gear Solid Kodak noise. Once you've done the right thing. But what were you going to do now? Go over a few ideas in your mind, trying to figure things out. The one thing that really stressed me out when I did have, when I first got Instagram, someone had used my email, and it was someone located where someone that was like harassing me was located. So I'm thinking it was done deliberately, but it really just was like, you know, had to, you know, do the whole process to get it removed and let me use it. Every time I think of that, I get like flashbacks to that. Anyway, back to this. I go for guys in your mind, trying to figure things out. Maybe you could start by... Hey, Knight! Hey, you, Lieutenant, who else? Oh, Ensign Rumney. What's up with you? You're just standing around in the hub, spacing out. You better not need to go to sickbay. Don't forget we're down one doctor. Throw the back of your neck awkwardly. You've been so ready to start planning how you're going to deal with all this that you'd completely miss her standing nearby. Oh, it's nothing. I guess I'm just a bit out of it from when I was attacked. That's so? Well, it's time to get it together. You got orders from our new captain, right? Yeah, that's right. She told me to keep up my patrols, look for any signs of an intruder. Guess I'm left on guard duty then. Where's Hanson? Why do you want to know? Planning something you don't want to get caught doing, huh? Oh no, I was just, haha, take it easy, Lieutenant, I'm messing with you. You wouldn't be that stupid, right? Trying something on Captain Lord's ship when Hanson and I are on your case? I'm not. Because I'm giving you a heads up, Knight. I know you told Lord that you're on her side. Good call, by the way. But I know how loved up you and Quinn are, so Hanson and I was pretty surprised that you ditch her like that. Or are you thinking now's the time you finally come visit my quarters? Hey, offer's still open. For real though, we're going to be keeping an eye on you. Lord might be cool with letting you wander around the ship, but me and Hanson, we're going to need to earn our trust. Which means that if we see you doing anything weird, if we think you're becoming a problem, I'm always a problem, we're not going to go easy on you. Got it? I like how they just showed the gun. Like fucking hell, like, just like, have to remind me that they're armed. Yeah, I understand. Hey, there we go. I knew you weren't just a pretty face. Well, I got some dangerous prisoners to keep under control. Sounds like you've got a job to do, Lieutenant. Catch you later. With a wink, Hera leaves you in the central hub. I just imagine them having like Heelys, you know, like just popping the Heelys out and going. As if you didn't have enough to worry about, you now know that the pilots were going to be keeping tabs on you. I'm pretty sure we kind of knew that to begin with. With another deep sigh, you pinched the bridge of your nose. This wasn't going to be easy. Still, you had no choice. You just need to keep them in mind when it came to whatever plan you were going to make. With more pressure on you to deal with this as quickly as possible, you hit up the Forsyth thoroughfare. You need to come up with a plan the least suspicious way you can. Decide that a meal in the mess hall is the best cover for an extended period of thinking. Right now, I'm here. Excuse me. I was coughing and it hit pitch black and so thick it could stand a spoon in it. I thought it was gross and to put the cigarette out in it, but as it turns out, it's pretty gross to begin with. Tyra's pretty gross to begin with. Tyra's just a freak. Oh my fucking Tyra's a freak. Despite everything that's going on, I'm assuring that no, you can still get a possible plate of plain protein bacon eggs, whatever you want. I forgot about the input shit with this. There's still a pretty good selection of snacks available, which makes sense since we're not been out to port for too long. That might be different if Cassie hadn't been confined to sick bay at her quarters for the past few days. I'm guessing Haru's here then. There's no one here. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about the skipping around. That thing's nearly sold to Cassie's favorite chocolate bar. I'll leave it for now. If I do get her in the captain free, I don't want her to find out that her favorite chocolate isn't waiting for her. Wouldn't that be more the reason to buy it, and then, like, take it somewhere? I was drinking that right now. It'd be pretty weird if I decided to take a swig. But if no one's in the room to talk to, and Haru has left her cup there, can we, like, drug it? And that'd be, like, one of the ensigns taken care of. As you get into think about the situation aboard the ship, you ask the mom to press a button on the food vendor, not caring too much about what might present it to you. Sound of a vendor slowly assembling your meal from its stock of artificial ingredients fills the room as your mind wanders towards the beginnings of a plan. As it stands, Vanessa has taken command of the ship. Justifying her actions of using the captain and Cassie's indisposition during the blackout, the murder of the doctor, and her perception of the captain's inaction following the attack of the unknown craft. Of course, having two armed ensigns at her side had done a lot to help convince the rest of the crew to go along with her. Right now, Vanessa's the biggest problem. Even if things can't go back to normal, I can't let her remain in command. Best way to deal with this will be you're jolted out of your thoughts by a sudden hissing sound. Thankfully, no one else is joining you in the mess hall. Instead, a plate of fully surprisingly... Yeah. I'll buy followers, you're gonna get yourself a report instead, bucko. Thankfully, no one else is joining the mess hall. Instead, a plate full of surprisingly convincing synthetic macaroni and cheese is ejected from the serving hatch. Pick it up and carry it over the table where you place it down and slide into the nearest seat. Skewering a few pieces of pasta with a fork and scooping up some of the breadcrumb crust, you pick up where you left off. The best way to deal with this will be yeah. I think this is probably going to be the getting the rest of the crew on my side. Pause, thinking about the challenge that lay ahead of you. It's going to be tough, that was for sure. Is this something I'll be able to do alone? No. Even if I deal with Vanessa, Hanson, Haru, the rest of the crew will still be a problem. What I do is once those three are out of the way. What do I do once those three are out of the way? Just let the captain and Cassie walk out of the quarters like nothing happened? After everything Vanessa said, would anyone still trust them? I need the crew to be behind me on this one. I know Vanessa's wrong. Crossing your arms and leaning back in the chair and stare miles at the blank wall in front of you and trying your best to marshal your thoughts. Wait. I know Vanessa's wrong. All I need to do is convince everyone else. If I can show them that her reasons for taking control are all made up, there's no way anyone will follow her orders. I still think Hanson and Haru would still, you know... still be up for it because they get to carry guns and be abusive with their power. Of course, the ones, even Hands of Hyrule will realize they're the ones who's going to be in charge of traitors if they stick fire. They'll ditch her, no doubt about it. Nessa will have nothing. I wonder, I won't be able to deal with her on my own, but with everyone behind me. You load up another fork-full macaroni and raise it to your mouth. Long glistening strands of cheese, follow your utensil with a swift circular motion and you wrap them around the fork. As you take a mouthful, you begin to consider the particulars of your plan. It was easy enough to decide that you were going to get the rest of the crew on your side. But how were you actually going to do that? You paused, trying to decide. You need to convince the rest of the crew that Cassie and the captain were innocent, and for that you'd need who? Now, we're gonna have to find proof it wasn't them. Can't try and talk my way out of this one. It'd be tough to get the crew to stand up to Vanessa in the instance, even if I can prove her wrong. I'll need something concrete that I can use to show them that the captain and Cassie are innocent, otherwise I'll have no choice, no chance of convincing anyone. With evidence like that, the rest of the crew would know they're complicit in a mutiny if they do nothing. But is there even any evidence like that on the ship? Lay your fork down on the table beside your plate and rest your chin in your upturned palm. Staring at the blank wall ahead, you let your mind wander. What kind of evidence could there be? And would you even realize if you saw it? As security officer, it was your job to gather information about incidents prior to handling cases over to internal investigations. That usually only involved things like witness statements or data logs. Most forensic training you've been given had focused on recovering firearms or sealing locations to prevent people from tampering with them. At least, too bad we can't, you know, turn into a puddle and, like, squeeze through the cracks and spy on people by pretending to be a chair or something. People tampering with them. Certainly weren't a detective. Picking up your fork again, you began to listlessly push the meal around your plate. There was no use getting pessimistic. Either there was evidence or there wasn't, and there was only one way to find out. But if there was something that could prove the two prisoners innocent, where would it be? Oh, definitely sick bay. You mull over the accusation that Vanessa had leveled at both Cassie and Captain. If they hadn't been sick or incapacitated, but they'd been purposely absent, that Cassie had killed the doctor. You knew that wasn't the case, though. That it couldn't have been the case. You'd been there when Cassie collapsed and seen the state that Captain Bartimeus was in when the power was out. You'd been the one that taken Cassie to the doctor and... The doctor? Your mind jumps back to where you arrived at sickbay. From the moment he started trying to diagnose and treat Cassie, he'd been doing information on his tablet. And the same thing would treating you as well. On top of that, the murder must have occurred in the sickbay. Dr. Mazarian rarely went anywhere else, and considering you'd been patrolling the ship, you'd haven't spotted somebody dragging a body around. Oh, excuse me. Triumphantly, you scoop up a large heap of pasta and take a bite, savoring the crisp layer of breadcrumb and baked cheese that came with it. You wolf down the remainder of the meal and stand, placing the plate and utensils on the vendor's return tray. You had a plan now. Look for evidence in the sickbay to prove the captain and Cassie are innocent, and then use the information to get the crew to join you in boosting Vanessa. With a brand new sense of determination, you head to leave the mess hall. Just before you leave, you pause. You're confident you can find out what you need at the sickbay, but would it be wise to limit your search to just that room? Shouldn't you investigate the rest of the ship as well? It was worth considering your reasons. With that, step into the Forsyth Thoroughfare, a new resolution to get Vanessa out of the captain's seat, filling you with confidence. Map. I have access to the map. My task, I invested the ship for food on the doctor's data pad. Well, we'll save. I'm gonna go see Bees first. Dylan, what am I supposed to be on high? I'm supposed to be on high alert here. You only just opened the doors leading to control, but Dylan spun around his chair to yell at you. Fair. Whoa there, Dylan, it's just me. Oh, Lieutenant. Captain Lord sent you to check on me, make sure I'm not getting anything to sabotage a huge or really important JFS STEM dog. No, Dees, I'm just here to check everything's okay. I'm trying to figure out if we have more traders on board. Okay, Dees, what is this? It's nothing, ma'am. I'm happy to have the ship's security officer come check in on me just after she stood by and let the captain and her girlfriend get locked up. Totally happy to see you. Gonna cooperate. No problems here. Having a great time sat in silence, staring at screens to look for more machines that I can't even land a single shot on when the long-range targeting system's all screwed up. Can't get enough of. Dylan, slow down. I'm not here for what, Lieutenant? Not here to drop in and make sure I'm not doing anything suspicious, just a friendly chat. Damn it, Dylan. I'm not happy either. Do you think You turn around and look down the length of Forsyth Thoroughfare behind you. You had to close the door after you came in, and although you were quite distant from the crew quarters, you couldn't be sure that ensigns wouldn't hear you. Quickly hit the button that caused the door to slide shut, and then turn back. Do you think I want this, any of this, that I want Commander Quinn locked up in her quarters with no way for me to talk to her as we sail back to her trial for treason? Didn't seem to bother you on the bridge. You weren't jumping at the chance to stop Lord. How do you think I would have stopped her exactly? Harrow had a gun shoved into my guts, and Hansen had another one aimed right at me. I had to do this. It's the only way I got a chance of getting either the commander or captain out of this situation. And he's thinking, for real though? Dylan, of course, because if this is a sting, you gotta tell me, otherwise it's entrapment, you know? Dees, do you think I really just let Lord get away with all this? I guess not. Look, Dylan, I did what I had to do on the bridge. I'm not proud of it, but if I didn't, things would be a lot worse. Right now, I'm just trying to make things right. Dylan. With a long, extended sigh, Dylan slides down his chair until his head rests halfway up the backrest. Sorry for giving you all that crap when you came in, Lieutenant. Don't know about you, but I'm straight up not having a good time right now. I don't think any of us are, except for Lord and Hansen are. They're like happy to be goons. They're like reveling in it. Yeah, I know how you feel. Lord, right? Right. With a frustrated groan, Dylan wriggles his way back up to a more normal sitting position. Gotta be honest, I didn't know what the hell was going on up on the bridge, especially when Croix started knocking the captain about. I mean, damn, right? Now, we've got Queen Bitch running things, man. I don't even know what's going to happen to us when we get back to Europa. I definitely didn't sign up for this. So, what are you doing, ma'am? You got a plan? Well, I don't suppose you want to help me take back the ship from the ensigns in Vanessa, do you? Gonna have to skip that one, Lieutenant. It sounds a little bit more than what I'm getting paid for. But if I can prove that the commander and the captain are innocent, that Vanessa's going to go down as a traitor once the JSC find out what's happening on board. For real? What have you got? Well, it's something I'm working on. But my point is, if I can prove she's wrong, will you back me up when the moment comes? Dylan leans back into his seat, looking you up and down. Just open a package of Pepero and just like eat it everywhere. Something about this assessment reminds you of your first meeting with the captain, an event that felt like it happened years ago after all you've been through. Yeah, sure. I don't plan on going down for anyone. If you got something that shows Vanessa's got this all wrong, no way, I want to be on her side when the tribunal starts asking questions. Thanks, Dylan. It was good to have the gunner's vote of confidence, but you couldn't have help a a slight feeling of apprehension over how mercenary he was being. Yeah, no sweat. But hey, if you need anything that can help, like actually help with, give me a shout. Yeah, I'll see what I can do. Yeah, I'll let you know. Consider he, like on the other route, he gives us a screwdriver and helps us like break out. Really is still pretty fuzzy. I guess it means the long-range communication systems is still down. I think that's for the best. At least it means Vanessa can't broadcast her accusations back to the Europa colony. We'll basically be there by the time we're actually within contact range. Well, if anything else happens, it means we can't call for help. After not playing it for a couple weeks, the input problem is like more frustrating because I'm not used to it. Can't imagine trying to use controls like these to operate all the weapons on the ship. On bigger vessels, much traditional manually operated turrets and cannons. I was hoping it would tell me about the 8-ball. Okay. Anything that looks like a threat on these monitors. But again, with the long-range communication system down, that means our targeting is basically limited to visual range. They could be just out of sight and we'd have no idea. One of these days I'm going to find out what the 8-ball where that 8-ball came from. Yeah. But yeah, Geese is the one I knew like would be like all up for it. Hey Dylan, as long as we didn't like make it expect you to do like too much. Hey Dylan, what's going on, Lieutenant? Got that proof you were after? I'm still working on it. I'm just here to check up on you though. Have you seen anything or anyone suspicious on board recently? Dylan gestures from the screens to the general direction of the hangar. I mean, aside from that, has there been anything that's caught your attention? Anything at all? Sorry, Lieutenant, you know me. Aside from that little meeting we just had on the bridge, I've been sitting here doing sweet FA since pretty much since we've launched, I guess. Alright. Well, if you see anything, let you know. I got it, Lieutenant. Can I use any items? I have any chocolate to give him. No. Still got my locker shock weapon though. Okay, we're gonna save here. And I'm gonna go to the hangar. Render key card along the slot in the terminal next to the hangar doors. Will it work? As they slide open, you're about to step through when you're stopped by hand falling on your shoulder. Going somewhere, Lieutenant? You brush the pilot's hand away, responding brusquely. Yeah, the hangar for my patrol. Now leave me alone. Turn away from Hanson and head to the doors again, but this time he grabs the top of your arm. Hey, what's the rush? I'm not making you late for something, am I? You yank your arm away as you have to twist to face him, lying his eyebrow raised at you in his expression of mixed cockiness and contempt. I'm just trying to get on with my duty, boys. It might not be a concept you're familiar with. Snap before you can help yourself. Whoa, easy there, Lieutenant Knight. We're all buddies here, right? Crewmates? all serve the same captain, don't we? Faced with an involuntary sneer, the mention of serving under Vanessa, but you managed to compose yourself before it's too obvious a reaction. Yeah, and I'm trying to get on with that, what I've been ordered to do. Don't you have something you should be doing instead of getting in my way? Lieutenant Knight, wow, I'm just doing my job too, you know. Keep watching some dangerous traitors. I'm also making sure that none of the crew do anything suspicious that might get in the way of Captain Lord getting us back to the Europa safe and sound. Have you got something you want to say, Croix? Nothing, Lieutenant. Nothing. Just reminding you that you aren't alone on the Gundog. Harry and I are keeping an eye out for you. We don't want you to get caught up in any more trouble, you know? Roll your eyes. Don't worry about me, Croix. I'm not looking for trouble. Just making sure. Yeah, thanks. Turn away pants one more time as words follow you and the stairwell lead to the hangar. Don't work too hard. You wouldn't want us to get worried and have to come find you. That's foreshadowing, by the way. That's one of the trophies I need. You grunt a response as you head down the stairs, feeling Hansen's eyes on you until the doors slide shut behind you. Making your way down the stairwell, you adjust to the ever-decreasing gravity until by the end, you're calmly floating into the hangar itself. I kept an eye on Item, too, in case it would let me shock him. The hangar is eerily still with no one in it. They're used to there always being something going on here, even if it's just Dalton tidying the contents of containers or maintaining machinery. But them helping to cheapen the engines is just you, all alone. You hope. It doesn't look like much has changed since you were here last. Didn't find anything suspicious then, but it's definitely a possibility I missed something. I should get the place another once over just in case. Total mess. It doesn't look like anyone started an attempt recovery in the undamaged containers. Felt like we're gonna get the crew there for that, I suppose. It was kind of lucky the launch chutes had been damaged and the hangar door had to be open. Otherwise, we'd have ended up crashing into the front of the ship. Our emergency landing may have been pretty rough, but at least we'd survived. It's a good thing Dalton was so quick with the arrestor gear. It looks like it's working order at least, which should make Dalton's life easier when he gets around to repairing Hansen's Juno. Hansen and Haru's armor frames. Consider how the fight with that machine gun ended. It's all a miracle we're still in one piece. Looks like Dalton's done some pretty preliminary repairs to the engines on Hansen's machine, so it should be ready for combat. If it comes to another round, though, I know where I'd place my bet. I've read about this. Yeah, this is the bug with Red P and autosave. Now I won't have autosave for the rest of the where I'm playing until I restart the game. So these cramp up too. Cross your arms as you look over the incapacitated machine. As far as you were aware, there had been no signs of movement or activity from it ever since it had come crashing into the hangar with you and Hansen. Couldn't believe that vote of mission though, especially considering how powerful it had been when it was tearing its way out of O'Brien and forcing Hansen to push his Juno to its limits. Could a machine like that really suffer from something as mundane as mechanical failure? It doesn't seem right. Time being, we'll help with the supplies recover it, load it. Will last us until we get back to the Europa colony. Yeah, one of the things to trigger Hansen is to finding you later is to like examine stuff, and I don't know when that is on this route, so I'm just gonna examine everything anyway. Fresh crop sits in front of you motionless. It wasn't that long ago that nearly killed you and Hansen, If it hadn't crashed, it might have ended up killing everyone on board the ship. Just over a day, this thing had been the biggest problem you were facing. How have things managed to get worse since then? You couldn't help but feel that this craft was at the center of everything that had been going on. It's presently on board the O'Brien. It's present during the O'Brien during the blackout and its crew's deaths. Cassie's condition worsening shortly after it came on board. The doctor dying. Couldn't just be a coincidence. Despite your instinct, there was no sign that was responsible for anything that happened on the gun dock since it had crashed. Sat still, totally inert. If there was a pilot on board, it seemed almost impossible for them to have left. You'd need to find something you missed up previously if you were going to prove your suspicions true, but what could that be? You drift along the catwalk, grabbing onto a railing once you're directly in front of what you assume to be the strange craft's main cameras. Through the eruption at Dalton's ceiling foam that had happened when it crashed in the hangar, the machine was almost entirely covered, with only a portion of it visible. In spite of this, the spear-like protrusion with the 3 lenses set deep into the surface still gave the impression that it was watching you, as if waiting for the perfect moment to break free. You shake out the feeling and drift over the railing, carrying out another visual soon on the massive solidified foam. After your earlier checks, you don't spot any signs of damage to the substance coating the craft, and there's no single piece of exposed surface that seems large enough to act as a point of exit. Turning the walkway, the rest of the railings glaring at the trio of cameras. Eventually it wins to staring calmness, and you throw your head back, running your hands through your hair in frustration. I know this thing's got something to do with what's going on. There's got to be. Halfway through your complaint, open your eyes and stare as a strange circular mark on the hangar ceiling. Clicking off the catwalk, you float up to the panel of steel immediately above the main bulk of the entombed machine. You fly gently with the hangar's topmost point and begin to investigate the mark. Running your fingers along the perfect circle, nearly half-inch deep track scored in the ship's steel ceiling, you notice that around its edges are what would have been molten metal, now solidified into a small ring of beading around the ring's edge. The panel itself was totally unremarkable, and there was no nearby device or feature that would require maintenance. You couldn't imagine any member of the crew coming up here and making such a precise mark using the necessary tools and then leaving it. Look back at the machine below, you're seemingly just a giant mass of solidified foam from this angle, and move to align yourself with the center of the circle. Once in position, you kick off, sending yourself back towards the craft. The moment you make contact, you run your hands over the area of the foam, which would correspond with a ring-shaped cut on the ceiling above you. Surely enough, your fingers detect the slightest of ridges. Using your nails to find even the slightest element of traction on the foam, you begin to pull its edges. It takes some effort, but eventually a semblance of hardened compound begins to rise up. Gripping the mess in both hands, you tug, pulling at it ends up being nearly 2 feet of solidified foam. Holding it in both hands, you look down towards the recesses that you created. There on the carapace, like back of the strange machine's armor, you can see the outline of what could only be one thing: an entrance hatch. Leaving a huge plug of foam to float freely, you reach into the hole towards the hatch, running your fingers over it, trying to find any control of the point of access. Unable to find anything but the faintest indications that there was an entrance and exit to the craft, you stand up, grabbing the cylinder of foam and sliding it back into place. At this point, your heart was racing. So far, everyone had assumed that even if this machine had a pilot, they'd be sealed inside. Yeah, when I was asked to look at it before, I didn't give it a once over again. I don't know if this was something you could have found then, or if this is saved for this route. But I just played it as my character was so fucking tired and sore, and they had looked at it the best they could. What you discovered presented you with evidence to the contrary. So far, everyone had assumed that even this machine had a pilot, they'd been sealed inside. Remain in place as you try to think over what this means and what you need to do next. The pilot was a threat, and that much was clear, but you couldn't go to Vanessa for help hunting them down. You need to get rid of her first. While you had discovered this revelation, you still weren't sure that you had enough to take Vanessa down. You need to find something more. go to two humanoid machines located towards the rear of the hangar and sure if you find anything but not wanting to waste the opportunity. Grabbing a hold of the open cockpit hatch to Hansen's machine, you appear inside saying nothing but the standard interior of a Juno 3. Armored frame with additional passenger seats still mounted on one side. Picking off the battle-scarred armor of the tuner that you've been a passenger in, you glide through the minimal gravity and arrive at the power machine. You repeat the check you made a moment ago on the cockpit, not expecting to see anything different. You're surprised to notice something slightly out of the ordinary in the corner of the monitor, so move to investigate. Hit to the edge of the screen is a small photograph. Much like the ones in Cassie's quarters, is a printout of a digital picture. You instantly recognize it as a much younger Hansen. Standing by a similarly youthful Haru, both are wearing ceremonial uniform and stood in front of a kind of Juno used during the Solar War. Wide smile that you see on their faces miles away from the snide looks of disdain you're used to receiving from them, and you realize that each pilot is proudly holding up a medal up to the camera. Spend a few minutes here looking at the photo before leaving the cockpit and heading back to the main catwalk by the hangar entrance. Exterior launch chutes might still be damaged, but I'm not planning on going anywhere inside the ship right now. If you're lucky, this door will be staying closed until you get back to Europa. Too much of a maze to find anything right now. Time being, we'll have to hope that the supplies are already unloaded will last until we get back to the Europa colony. Got more important things to do right now than try and start tidying up or help repair Hansen's Juno. You need to stay on task. There's no one here right now. Grappling what you discovered in the hangar means for the M-Dog and crew, you stepped into the four-side thoroughfare. So preoccupied with your own thoughts, you didn't notice Hansen leaning idly against the wall beside the doors and how he follows you down the corridor. Oh, is this where I get the trophy? Hey, Knight. Something happened in the hangar? Looks like you've got a lot on your mind. Oh, not nothing, just thinking about where to go next. That Wright figured that you'd been on a ship long enough to know your own patrol route. Take it easy, Lieutenant, just checking in on you. You'd noticed how long you'd been in there, that was all. Didn't realize it took so much time to look around an empty room. Yeah, well, it's called being thorough. That right? Well, Lieutenant, you better not take too long on the rest of your patrol. We don't want you disappointing the captain after she generously gave you this opportunity, right? Whatever, Hans, get off my back. I got the rest of the ship to check out. If you say so. That Hansen throws you a lazy salute, you saunter away, turning the corridor, leave Cassie in the captain's quarters. You're confident they hadn't followed you into the hangar, but it was obvious that he didn't trust you. You'd have to be careful. Probably gonna be the Collect your keycard to the reader attached to the terminal by the door. Instead of the door open like you expect, caught up guard, a security device emits a series of harsh tones. On the terminal screen, he has presented with a warning of an oversized flashing letters. Access denied, insufficient authority. Curse on your breath, peering down the long corridor towards the four-side thoroughfare to see if the engines had heard the noise. For hell's sake, Vanessa. You weren't surprised that your captain limited your access to the armory, but it was a good reminder of how little freedom you currently had. You quickly headed away from the armory entrance, but not waiting to be caught, hanging around Hansen or Haru and crossing your fingers that you wouldn't need anything from inside.